Good evening and welcome to Talking Songs with me, Roland Jones. Was a slightly different show this evening. Due to unforeseen circumstances, my guest was not able to make it this evening. So, having chatted to some of the people on Talent is Timeless, I've got together a group of the usual suspects who are going to be here to entertain you and play some of their songs and chat about songwriting. So, but before I do that, I shall do my intro song. Now, this one is this is a song I've not played for a long time, but I was talking to Hugh earlier on, and something he said sort of triggered it off in my mind. So I thought I'd do it. So excuse me if I make some cursory references to the words. It's called Steak on the Table, and it's called Steak on the Table because a long time ago I had an interview with Paul Newman, and he was asked as to why he thought his marriage had survived so well, given the temptations of Hollywood, as they say. And he said, well, he didn't go out for a burger when there's steak on the table at home, which I thought was rather a nice expression. And so it formed the basis of this here song. So this is called Steak on the Table. We were playing in the bar, we were hot and we were loud. I saw a pretty face looking at me from the crowd. I could read her mind, tell what she was feeling. Why drink any old tea when I can drink Darjeeling at home? At home. At home. At home. Why drink any old tea when I can drink Darjeeling at home? She tried to catch my eye, but I turned away, and a smile would reappear in a flirtatious way. Hard to avoid, she could dance, she could jive. Why would I take a train when a Merc's on the driveway at home? At home. At home. At home. Well, I would take a train when the Merc's on the driveway at home. She sidled up to me at the end of the night and whispered in my ear, I can make you feel alright. I said, honey, I see you're willing and able, but why eat burger when there's steak on the table at home? At home. At home. At home. Why eat the burger when there's steak on the table at home? I didn't put her off, it didn't break her stride. This sexy little demon just wanted to ride. I said, honey, ain't gonna tell you once again, I won't drink water, I'd rather have champagne at home. At home. At home. At home. I will not drink water, I'd rather have champagne at home. I drove home to my lovely, lovely wife. I walked in the door and got the shock of my life. She said, no steak, no champagne, forget your Darjeeling, and I'll take the Merc, 'cause I'm tired of being at home. At home. At home. At home. I'll take the Merc cause I'm tired of being. I'm taking the Merc cause I'm so tired of being. Taking the Merc cause I'm so tired of being at home. There you go, that's steak on the table. And I don't know what's happened to Hugo, because he seems to have disappeared off the screen. But let me introduce my other guests. Oh, hang on a minute, here we go. And here they all are. What a lovely bunch. Except Hugh's not there, where's he gone? So we've got Eddie, where are you? Speak to me, Eddie. Eddie, speak to me. Where are you? Oh, hang on, Eddie's gone as well now. What about you, Steve? Are you there?
I'm here, Roland. Good evening.
Good. And you, Trudi? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I was just unmuting myself.
Oh, unmuting. Oh, God. You with us? You with us, Hugh?
Yeah.
We just played a song for you and you weren't there.
I heard it. I was there. I was very muted.
Right then, hang on. Eddie, where's Eddie gone now? Where are you, Eddie? You're not showing up for some reason, mate. Oh, dear. This is all going... I won't say the phrase. Okay then, guys. Here we are, ready to talk about songs. Right. Who wants to start? Steve, you're a new boy here. You're one of the new guys. How do you feel about songwriting? Are you a lone writer or are you a collaborator?
I tend to be a lone writer. I enjoy collaboration in principle. I like the concept. I like the idea. The reality of it seems to be that I always end up waiting for the other person who has other priorities and other things. A lot of the people seem to have multiple projects and many bands, and so I end up getting quite frustrated in the end because they go off and they do other stuff. So most of my collaborations sit on a pending pile and come to realisation very slowly. So
Well, it's one of the reasons that I bring that as a topic is because Hugh and I have been talking for a while now about collaborating on something, and then we started talking about it again the other day. So, well, how are we going to do it? Because the only people I've collaborated with, it's either been in a workshop situation where there's a prompt or something to get you started, or has been a situation where I've worked with somebody who simply writes lyrics. And then it's a fairly straightforward, well, this is the tune, and okay, let's put the two things together. Whereas collaboration, in the sense that other people seem to write, seems to be much more fluid. What about you, Trudi? Have you any experience of collaborating?
No, I haven't. I'd love to write with somebody, but I think I'd need to be in the room with them. I'm not sure that I could manage writing something and sending it. It's the technology really would get in my way because I'm not very fluent with it. I was lucky I found my unmute button, really. So I would like to, but I think I'd like to like that person's music anyway, and probably so I don't know that. I did try with a friend of mine once, and she wanted to follow the protocol that she'd had at a songwriting workshop, and it was absolutely awful, the thing that came out of it. It was so 4 hours of misery on Zoom writing this wretched piece of rubbish.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever do that again. That didn't work properly. But I'd like to sit down with somebody whose music I like and sit
Well, I
in the
suppose
room.
that comes back to Steve's point. What you were saying, Steve, was like the waiting for other people. I mean, if you're in the same room with somebody and you're working with them, you're not going to have to wait, really. And I think
I've got a counter example of that from this week. Actually, I was on Twitter with a Texan insomniac who kind of is always there at breakfast time on Twitter chatting, and he just sent me a piano loop that a pianist in Leicester had sent him.
right.
And he said, I'm going to work on this today and trying to work it into a song. I'm getting on with the instrumental. I hadn't really got any thoughts on lyrics and stuff, but do you want to collaborate on this song? And I said, yeah, sure. So he sent the music across, and then I just, based on the rhythm of the piece, I just sent him a phrase, and I said, this comes to mind, this fits. Then he picked up on that and sent back a similar vain kind of phrase. And then we sent 4 or 5 of these things backwards and forwards, and decided this was getting somewhere. You know, the things seemed to gel. There was a kind of an allegory, if you like, that we were using, that we both had tuned into. And then after about 10-15 minutes, we agreed that he'd go off and play with the music. I'd go off and play with the lyrics, and then we'd get back together the next morning and see where we got to. And you know, we're now going to, I think he and his wife and myself are going to do like a Crosby, Stills and Nash harmony kind of vocal on it.
Nice.
And he's now written different tracks, and anyway, so that was much faster. And we used the technology. You know, we were kind of using the chat on Twitter to exchange ideas in real time.
Yeah, I think there's a point there that the way the technology works is not necessarily fixed. But I think part of the issue with modern technology is that people tend to, rather than phoning somebody up, they'll send a message and then not wait for the reply. They send the message off knowing they won't get a reply immediately, and therefore the whole thing does get slowed down. But it's not the technology's fault. It's just how we use it. You know, it can be used instantaneously, as you've done. So, okay, then who's going to sing a song first, and who's going to have second, if you like? Who fancies? Who's ready to go? I don't know what's happened to Eddie. Hugh.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't mind kicking it off. Can you hear everything all right?
Yep.
This was, I don't know whether you know, well, you do know, because we're all in TIST or TIST, aren't we? So every month there's a challenge to write a song to a theme. And I wrote this song at the 11th hour, and it took, literally at the 11th hour, and it took 1 hour and 5 minutes to upload to YouTube, and so it missed the boat. Officially speaking, it wasn't entered, so I'm saving it for another occasion when the challenge might fit the theme of the song. The song is called Not Trying to Win, and like so many of my songs, it's about problematic issues in a relationship. Oh God, that sounds very grand, doesn't it? Not very heavy, but anyway, here we go. Do you know what you want? Do you even know what you feel? While we're talking, buzzing lights calling, you can't resist their appeal. I know you got good friends in there. I know that you wanna join in, but please just look at me before you go off. I'm here and I'm not trying to win. I'm here and I'm not trying to win. I watch you flying high as a kite, right to the end of your string. Happy to see you swooping and diving till you tried everything. The only time that you crashed and burned was when you thought that I wasn't in. And just 'cause we're bound doesn't mean I control you. I'm here and I'm not trying to win. I'm here and I'm not trying to win. What's the trouble, Capital? Keep talking to you, you might understand that true love is tough. Knowing that you might just fly off the handle and tell me that you had enough. But I need to be held till the earth stops shaking. I need you to truly begin to look in your heart and decide if you love me I'm here and I'm not trying to win. I'm here and I'm not trying to win. Sorry about the capo.
I love that song.
Thank you. It's actually about technology,
Is it?
as you may have gathered. People getting stuck in their phones.
Actually, it's very interesting, Hugh, because this thing about writing songs, because I suppose we flock together, don't we, in a way. Your songs, I don't know about Steve yet enough, but I know Eddie's music as well, and yours, Roland. But your songs are more in my domain, if you know what I mean. So if I was going to sit down and write a song, it's probably the wrong thing to do. I'd want to sit down with somebody who was sort of genre close. But that's probably a bad idea in some ways, because it stops you having the breadth of something new. I don't know. It's a comfort zone thing. Anyway, I do love that song.
Thank you.
Great song.
Roland, you're on mute. Roland.
Sorry. The point you're making though, do you go for something similar and hope something will evolve out of it, out of those two similarities, or do you go for something totally different and find some sort of compromise? I don't know. I've not had any experience either way really as yet. What about has anybody else done any sort of courses and things, or done any workshops on songwriting where they like, had this experience of collaborating?
I've done a workshop with Chris Difford, but we didn't collaborate. We were sent away. It was during the football match, actually. He sent us away for 4 hours to write a song, and I think it was to do with the fact that football was on in the middle, and we had to come back and play. We were only allowed to sing for 2 minutes of our song.
I think it's
football all the time.
I mean, sometimes the idea for a song can come out of a conversation, can't they? You know, you're talking about something in the news, something surreal that happens in the news, and you find that a phrase, and you latch onto it, and that becomes the germ of the idea for the song. So it's how hard you push it, really. It's how hard you push it. Because I think in theory, never having collaborated, I think in theory that there are rich opportunities because something that might strike you can be taken up by the other person, and then you get this sort of bouncing to and fro, like Steve was describing with his mate on Twitter.
Yeah.
Let's face it, some of the best songs ever written have been collaborations.
And also similarly with comedians, a lot of the the great sitcoms are all written by pairs, weren't they?
Yeah.
You know? So well, I suppose it's not my taste in music. It could go to Gilbert and Sullivan as well, really. But I
mean, there's something quite precious about the idea for a song. If you have an idea for a song, you kind of treat it like your own baby in a way, don't you? Now, precious.
I think that's an interesting point, because I know on one occasion I did try collaborating with somebody, and it was completely pointless. And I realised we sat down and I started to play something, and I realised he was watching me and memorising it. It was clearly something that he really liked and didn't really want to work on it, but he just wanted to basically. Now that might sound like paranoia, but given that what happened afterwards, it proved my thought was pretty accurate. But the thing is that there is that thing, we do feel precious about it, and a lot of people I've heard talking about this on these workshops and things I've been on recently seem to be much more. Maybe there was more paranoia 30 years ago in the music business than there is now. I don't know. Are people more precious, or maybe it's an age thing? What do you think?
Actually, the precious thing's kind of interesting, because I had forgotten, but Trudi reminded me. I did. It wasn't the Chris Difford one, but I did another Talent is Timeless workshop where a number of us were picked out, and we had to play a song, and then we got feedback from the rest of the group. And there were lots of ideas, change this line, what about this word, not sure about that, the metaphors are mixed, clean it up, all that kind of feedback. And so I took the feedback and I changed the song around, and I played it to a Zoom group that I'm on each week. And I said, this is a song you've heard before, but I've been to this workshop, and now this is the new improved version. And a few people went, oh yeah, that's much better. Yeah, that's great. A few people said nothing because they like other sort of music, and then quite a few said, oh no, I like the original much better. I don't like this version. So
I don't know that I'd want anybody to mess with my lines. I think if somebody picked a hole in my metaphors or took a word out and said, maybe if you put another adjective in there or something, I think I might just have to kill them with my sharp.
Is that something to do with your teaching background?
No, it's my love of language. I think, my words are very... I suppose it's because I don't know. I think I work very hard at the words, and even if there's I think it's odd if somebody thinks there's an extra syllable in there that they shouldn't, because I've done these Zoom songwriting things with non-talented timers things, and people don't know what to say, so they pick on something silly like, well, maybe if you'd put another word in there, and you think, well, you can't see the wood for the tree, you can't just pick a little tiny little thing and think that that's going to help me. Just tell me it's crap and I'll leave it and write another one, Or if there's a really good line in it, we all know that sometimes there's a strong line, either lyrically or in terms of the musical, the chord making, and that might be the only thing that's worth keeping, really. I've got 5 zillion songs, and if I took a decent line from 3 or 4 of them that have been ditched, you might be able to cobble something together. But it's always easier to start from scratch, I find, than scrabble around and try and retrieve some old ideas. I find reworking old ideas of limited use to me, because the songs probably were pegged to a moment that's gone anyway. So to try and dig it up and polish it up and represent it, like sticking a broken plate back together. I don't know. I find songwriting a very private.
But isn't that each individual has their own approach to it. I know that I've spoken to you about this before. That I've got friends who say they like to write a song and then record it straight away. Get it sort of committed. And other people who will say, well, actually, no, I like to play it a bit first. I like to take it out and try it, sort of road test it a little bit to see how it fits and to see how how it moves, how the phrasing changes, how the tempo changes, whatever, before you record it. So, I mean, but there's not a right or a wrong way. It's just different ways, I think.
Yeah. We all love our songs when we've first written them, and then a couple of weeks later you think, well, that's absolute stinker, that one. They take time to bed in, but those that do make the cut do get better with performing on the whole, I think. I think you're right, Roland, and I think once you've played them at a few folk clubs or something like that, you get more relaxed with them, and you grow into your own song, because they're too difficult for you when they're brand new, aren't they? Really, because they're too precious. You've got to break them in like a pair of shoes. You're absolutely right. That'd make quite a good song, wouldn't it? I've got to break in my song, like my high heel shoes.
Do you just get more confident, more comfortable performing it, or do you actually change the song? Because I can't help tinkering. I keep changing a word here, I'll alter a chord there, I'll tweak with a melody, and I used to think that was kind of a bad trait, and then I was listening to some of the Bob Dylan bootleg series and realised that's what he does. He goes into the studio with a half-baked idea and basically writes the song in the studio, and each take it changes and he updates it, and then a few months later he'll perform it live and the words have changed again, he's added a complete. So I mean, I guess it's probably that I think probably each of us has a slightly different approach, and there'll be some people that write a song, it's cast in concrete and that's it, it'll never change.
I'm very much like you on that. I think I find, and sometimes it just changes the feel of it, doesn't it? Even the extent of your own phrasing. I mean, I have a tendency to work melodies that have pickup notes on them, i.e. that they start before the actual the bar. Whereas when I'm more relaxed with a song, I'm more likely to drop it in the bar rather than sort of build up to it. And to run into it. So, okay, who's going to sing next then? Who? Steve, you've been raring to go.
I've got my guitar. Yeah. How does that sound now? In my
sounds all right to me.
Yeah,
sounds all right to everybody.
Okay, do you want me to just say a little bit about this first?
Yeah, tell us about it.
Okay, so right, so this one is, I was going to do a different song called Not Fighting Anymore, which is pretty much the same subject matter as Hugh's just covered, so we'll defer that one.
I see Eddie's joined us again. Hello, Eddie.
I'm sorry about that, Steve.
Welcome back.
Okay, Steve.
So so I'll do this. This one's called "Citizen of Nowhere." So that's a phrase that I'm sure one of our esteemed politicians used at some point. So I jotted it down and then forgot about it. And then I was talking to my grandson, I think, about the earliest memory that he had. You know, what's the first thing he could remember? And then we kind of got back to me, and so I went back to this. Well, there were a couple of things. One was being I don't know, probably about 3 years old, and I had this little pedal car thing, and I was at the front gate at the front garden, and we lived in a seaside town, and I was kind of aware that at the end of the road was the sea, but I wasn't really sure what it was. But there was a definite light at the end of the road that was attracting me. I was desperate to get out of the gate and pedal my little car down and see what it was. And there was also, even earlier than that, I've got a memory of being in the pram. I'm sure it's not a false memory, and wanting to climb out. I didn't really know what that was, but I just wanted to get out of the pram and get down. So this kind of yearning for escape theme, and so then that kind of mashed up with this Citizen of Nowhere idea, and it turned into this song, which I don't know. Maybe in the end I was trying to kind of imagine what it must be like being a refugee or something. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, it's Citizen of Nowhere. The waves and the horizon been calling to me ever since I was a young child, lived by the sea. My first memory, wanting to break free, couldn't escape from chains holding me. Citizen of nowhere, lost without a home, prisoner of everywhere, caught up in this storm, all alone, trapped behind this fence, can't get past the gate, everyone ignoring me, resigned to my fate. Running for too long, can't find my place. No one remembers me, left it all too late. Citizen of nowhere, lost without a home, prisoner of everywhere, caught up in this storm, caught up in this storm, all alone.
Nice. Nice one.
Should have taken the headphones off and where I can't actually hear what I'm playing. No idea if those are the right notes or anything.
It sounded right, I think, yeah. I'd go along with that.
Yes, it did sound right, Steve. It was very sweet, actually. A very in the best sense.
Oh, thank you.
It was a tender little song. Came over very balanced and rather beautifully.
Nice. Okay, hang on. Are you muted at that end, Hugh, or have I muted you?
Yeah,
okay.
No, okay.
Okay, that's cool. Right, we've got you back then, Eddie.
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yeah. You kind of disappeared suddenly.
Yeah, well, my computer just frozen.
Oh, all right. Oh,
like
peculiar.
that. So
Oh,
I
dear.
switched it back on again, and it froze again. And it's just stayed like that since. So luckily, I had this device. It's got to be cracked down the screen, but you managed to get it fired up. It's all technical here, lads.
Excellent. So, what other thoughts have we got on songwriting? What else have you got to add to this? One of you.
I've got some thoughts on songwriting, if you're interested.
Go on in.
Well, I this thing about where does a song come from, I'm finding that it's, when I think about it, because something we've been asked about quite a bit, about how do you begin, I think mine come more from melodically than actually lyrically. I mean, sometimes a line kiboshes me, a bit like I thought you said snake on the table, which I thought was very interesting. But like your steak on the table, I think snake on the table's much more interesting. But anyway, but it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. I know. But anyway,
called climbing up snakes.
Oh, well, there you go. You see, you've got your snakes, you've got your ladders, you've got your stakes, you've got them covered. You've got them all covered. But so obviously that's an example of a very catchy idea in terms of words. But what I'm finding, I wish I played the guitar so much better, because I get so excited by a singing note with a guitar chord and that sort of intersection of the two things. And obviously you need 2 or 3 notes to make it work. So I'm finding that more and more beguiling when I'm songwriting, because the words are everywhere. So I tend to sort of start with a little bit of melody, but because I didn't know the nature of this program, I mean, I'm writing songs, as you know, a lot of the time, and most of them just get binned, although I do throw a lot of them onto the website, and then I regret it, because I listen in the morning and I think, well, that was rubbish, take it away again, re-record it. But today I've been working on a song, and it derives from 3 chords. So I haven't really finished this song, it's not finished, but and I don't know very many chords, and I just make up these shapes, and I'm not very good at learning new chords. I mean, Hugh was showing me C major 7th. I'm still really struggling with C major 7th, to just sort of make my fingers do it in the middle of a song. And I love C major 7th. So I've come up with something nearby, which is quite different, which doesn't involve 3 fingers and a bar. And so it's this bit of song that I'm trying to write has evolved from this and this, which is exactly the same shape, 2 frets up, and then this. So I'm thinking, oh, I like that, and I've ended up with da 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 da, dee da da ba da da da. So that's the nascence of the song. And in fact, at some point today, I almost wasn't using that at all, because obviously you travel then, don't you? And then I needed a bit of verse before this could possibly be used. So I was fiddling around with what other 3 chords I knew. So it was actually the music that was shaping the song. But I did get a phrase, because I find that ordinary daily life is perfectly satisfactory for lyrics. I don't need anything extraordinary to happen. But recently I've taken up running again. And I did about 9 really good solid runs. I used to run a lot right through my 50s, and then I broke my shoulder and I didn't run for a couple of years. And I suddenly thought the other day, everything's a bit grim, so I've taken up running to try and give myself the natural high. And instead of warming up, because I knew I was only going to jog at 1 mile an hour, I just went straight out, and I found myself doing quite a long run. It was about 40 minutes, and I did a couple of climbs. I was absolutely chuffed, which meant the next day I had to do at least as far. You know what you like. And I didn't warm up and down properly. So I did about 9 really quite long runs on the trot, and on day 8 I began to have a particular pain in my right buttock. Not that everybody needs to know this, but it's interesting enough.
I'm looking for the link with
yes,
songs.
well, the thing is, the link is this. I was using the running to help me. Anyway, just to let you know, I've now stopped the running because I can't run. I've got some sort of awful thing called piriformis syndrome, which is another story. But before that happened, I'd come up with the line.
You got a pain in the bum.
Running I'm sorry, Hugh?
You got a pain in the bum.
I am a pain in the bum.
No, you've got.
I've got a pain in the bum, and I know I'm a pain in the bum. That's what Roland's thinking. I know. I can read his thoughts. I'm telepathic. But anyway, this goes.
No, actually,
this
okay.
goes-
I'll stop you there. Trudi. That wasn't what I was thinking at all.
Oh.
What I was actually thinking was that running and writing are at the forefront of somebody famous's mind, and that's
Running and
Murakami.
Who?
Murakami, a Japanese author.
I'm terribly sorry, sir, but I stop at Jane Austen,
Oh,
more or
dear.
less.
Well, there you
so
go.
who's Murakami when he's at home?
Wind-Up Bird Chronicles. No? Okay.
No, I'll write him down. I write down lots of what you say. I'm still waiting for my jazz chords, by the way, Roland. That I thought
Oh,
you
right.
know, so-
Okay. Yes.
Not that I'll be able to play them, but just to put together that chord, and that chord, with the phrase I came up with before I was kiboshed by my own backside. I had the phrase, and the running sun came to rescue this one. Right, so that's the beginning of the song. Okay. You're laughing at me. I'm just trying to explain the process in case you are generally interested. So I had some chords, I had a phrase, and then, of course, I had to sing about the thing that I was running away from, which is the usual, all the sort of problems. And then I used the other 3.5 chords that I knew. And then I wanted something with a bit of a bump in the verse. So I thought I'll go across the rhythm. So I started with da 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 da. And I thought, well, that's boring, so I'm going to cut in on myself. So I've got ba-da, and she smiles like that, da-da-da-da-da, to syncopate the lyrical line with the 2 chords that I do know. And then that had to bridge itself up with something that built up a bit. So I fiddled around and I had rip up my corny old heartstrings. So I had my verse, so I'm working, and then the words are easy enough. So I'm working with a pattern. So and that's it. And that's today's song, which is not finished, and it's probably a failure, and it hasn't had a performance at all, even to me, because it's so unfinished. But I thought I would use it because I thought you were interested in
That's
this.
what we're all here for. We're all
Yeah, exactly, in how people write songs. I thought that's what your little note said. So that's how I'm tending to write nowadays, is I come up with some chordal, and if I knew more chords, and if I wrote a song, I'd really like to write with a fine musician that could stretch my vocal ideas. Because I'm not very good at singing without the guitar, and I know that Boo Hewardine said to us in the Talent is Timeless thing very early on, try and write without your instrument. When I broke my shoulder and I couldn't play the guitar for weeks and weeks, I just went completely song dry. I couldn't really write anything. It's because I couldn't hold the guitar, even though I only know 4 chords. I couldn't hold it and make it come to anything.
It's weird because I come from the other side of it, because I used to write before I could play the guitar.
All right.
So
That is interesting. I think I used to make up little ditties and things, probably, but they didn't ever become anything.
So how did
proper.
that work, Eddie?
Well, I just kind of wrote poems, essentially, But at school, I struggled at school. I was really close to my mum when I was a kid, and she left home when I was a kid. So it kind of just rocked my will, shall we say. So I went a bit introverted at school, and I got bullied, and I failed at everything at school. I came out of school with no qualifications, but I had this little thing going on just between me and myself. It's just writing. I don't know why. I just wanted to write rhymes,
Right.
I had no academic interest whatsoever, at school. I couldn't spell, I'm dyslexic, I couldn't spell my name, couldn't spell my address hardly, But somehow I managed to cobble words together. It was just bizarre. It was a bizarre thing for me to do, It just had no...
How long did you do that before you started playing guitar or playing another instrument?
Well, there was a guitar around the house when I was a little kid, but the strings all snapped on it. Once the string snapped on it, my dad put a load of, the old phone wires, the different coloured phone wires.
Right.
He strung it up with that, which was useless, right? But we used to sort of make made nothing out of it really. So it just ended up in the attic. But But years later, you know, I had aspirations to play guitar, and so when I was 17, I got myself a little classical acoustic guitar from a jumble sale. You don't really see jumble sales anymore, do you? But yeah, I got this guitar from a jumble sale. I can't remember what make it was, but and I just learned on that. But I'm left-handed, you see. Bizarrely, I'm left-handed, and I was playing left-handed. And then there was this guy we knew who was a really good guitarist at the time when I was a teenager, and he insisted that I played right-handed, and I was like, well, I'm left-handed, do you know what I mean? And he just kept it. He was just battering me head with this right-handed stuff all the time. And you know, I had this guitar, and it was like, he goes, you want an electric guitar, don't you? And I go, so I went, yeah, because we talked about guitars and that, and I was saying I'd love to have an electric guitar, and he was saying, well, you know, to buy a left-handed electric guitar will be a damn sight more expensive than a right-handed guitar, and you can't even afford to buy a right-handed guitar. So where do you think you're going to get a left-handed? And with that, you know, in the end, I just thought, you know what, I'll just give it a go. So I learned how to play right-handed, and I play right-handed now. I've played right, but if you give me a left-handed guitar, I can play it. But you know, I've got my tongue stuck out while I'm doing it, but I can actually play it, you know. And when I used to go to the rock clubs and that, you know, play air guitar, I always play left-handed. You know, I was playing my air guitar left-handed all the time. So it's my natural ability is to play left-handed, except I don't. But it's something that I do think about constantly. I want to play right. I want to learn to play left-handed again. You know, because I don't think it take me long. But it's just
I think
one
of the things about playing left-handed is Kev, who has been on with this a couple of times. He's left-handed, and he said the danger is, he said, you know, like if you're a right-handed player, you can walk into a guitar shop and there's loads and loads of things to look at and loads of things that'll attract your attention. He said if you walk into a guitar shop and you're left-handed, if there's one left-handed guitar there, you're going to have to try it. And even if it's not ideally what you're after, you still end up buying it because you might not get another chance for 20 months before you actually see another left-handed guitar.
Well, there is the irony of this story, because I went to when I had money to buy a guitar finally, I went to Stockport and I was looking on. They used to have about 3 or 4 guitar shops in Stockport years ago. I don't know what they do now. And I remember going up the hill to this guitar shop. Can't remember what the guitar shop was called.
The Rhythm House.
The Rhythm House. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, you go up a hill to it.
Yeah. Not
and
there
it was sort of like on quite a steep brow. Well, I went up there and there was a guitar in there, and it was a blue. I couldn't say what make it was, but it's a blue guitar, and it was in this guitar shop, and it was hung up. It was left-handed, and it was one of the cheapest guitars in the shop. And I was there to buy a right-handed guitar. You know what I mean? I was like, bastard. But he'd gone to Africa by then, luckily, that guy. But yeah, so essentially, I just used to write poems in little verses and things like that in little bits of paper and bits of books and whatnot that I had. But it was a secret, because where I grew up, it was a bit of a rough hole, you know what I mean? And to be a poet or anything like that was just, you know, another excuse to be ridiculed and bullied, you know. So I just kept it to myself, really. And it's always
okay. Then
been that
Eddie,
way.
do you want to place a song then?
Yeah, okay. I did try and tune this guitar in before, so I'm not plugged into anything now. This is I'm just literally on this thingy. Yeah. I won't do the intro. The multitude of life in this world, it's astounding, the diversity of its form. It's simply profounding, the beauty of the natural world. It's so inspiring, but within its delicate balance, we keep on colliding, but there's one will, so we've got to find another way. 'Cause who'd have believed in the early years of this millennium we're letting it slip away, with big ideas over thousands of years, but we could make history today if we build for the future and embrace every culture, make the capital of the world a paradise city. We need new ideas and wisdom that's clear, because we are the keepers of the grail. Unto this world we are born, and for the sake of everyone, nature must prevail. Cause all our fear and all our hopes, I bet you they're all the same. So let's keep hope alive, collectively try, show the future what we overcame. Cause there's one world, so we've got to find another way. Cause who'd have believed in the early years of this millennium we're letting it slip away? With big ideas over thousands of years, but we could make history today. If we build for the future, embrace every culture, make the capital of the world a paradise city. And our future generations may look back, cause our memory will leave no shame. And in the future, children may be taught of the challenges that we're faced with today. And they'll remember our name, what we overcame, the path we laid and the future we gave. It'd be our accolade if we could make the grade our future fame with the eternal flame. So nature's links in the chain must become our crusade. There's so much to gain, so much to save. And now remember our name and what we overcame, and the path we laid and the future we gave. And now remember our name, and now remember our name. They'll remember our name.
Yes.
Nice.
Bravo, Eddie.
Nice one,
There
Eddie.
you are.
Plenty of bloody words in that song then.
Well, you know,
So
like
that's
I say,
fantastic.
that
Those
poet
runs,
side of
all
me.
that rhyming, all those runs of rhyming words, building up that sort of, that
Momentum.
rant, really, isn't it? That sort of
Yeah.
anthemic rant thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real bloody proper energy, Eddie. I'm going to mute myself now.
Yeah, well, I like to. What's the word? It's like a call to arms kind of song, if you know what
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, Billy Bragg would be proud of you for that, wouldn't he? He would.
Yeah.
It's a good song. It is a proper. I can imagine that going down
yeah.
really, really well live.
Yeah.
At the end of a set at a club.
Thank
It's
you.
a good song.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Trudi, you haven't actually sung us a song yet. Would you like to sing us a song? Or are you busy eating?
Sorry, I'm on my yogurt. I only had 2 minutes' notice, Roland, when I got him from walking the dog.
And you're
Throw my technology.
spending all
to
that
it.
energy running around.
Do you want? Shall I give my song a go then? This song. I mean, I've written plenty of songs, but shall I try and give this brand new song that's not
Well, if it's not finished, you
Well,
said before.
It's finished. It's finished. It's today's song. It's done.
Oh,
Darling,
it
I just
was-
haven't played it to anybody yet.
Oh,
There'll be another one tomorrow. It'll go in the
that's fair
dustbin probably.
Okay.
But it's fresh. It's fresh.
Okay.
I'll probably go wrong, but does it matter? Are we not amongst friends?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ba-ba-da-da-da-da. And she smiles like that through the window at me, with the ghost in the teeth of her insanity. And he stands in the room on the lonely shelf, surrounded by her, yet all by himself. Then rip up my corny old heartstrings heartstrings. When the night's too long and the days are wrong, and there's filth on the floor and despair written on the walls. There, rip up my corny old heartstrings. There's a shed load of rain on the shadowy ground. I need the running sun, oh yes, to come and rescue this one. La, 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 la. When the hope's all gone, you can't find that song, and the night's much, much too long, and the days all wrong, and the despair's on the walls, and the self-pity appalls. Then, rip up my corny old heartstrings, my heartstrings. Hey, look up, look up, look up, look up. Guitar tuning, dark, dark clouds, moving, moving. There's a shed load of rain, oh, on the shadowy ground. Then the running sun came to rescue this one. Running sun comes to rescue this one. I don't know how to finish, whether with a C major or back to this funny old chord. Don't know yet. I'll decide tomorrow.
Right. Now it's complete. It's been performed now.
Yes, they're all complete when they're written, and then they get thrown away, put out to dry for a bit.
Thanks to all of you for taking part. Now we haven't got time to go around for another song each, but what I'd like to ask of you is this: I mean, obviously, I think this is about the 70th of these programs I've done now, and it's very apparent to everybody I speak to. Everybody has a different idea of what is a good song, right? We all like different things. Is there such a thing as a bad song? And if so, what makes it a bad song? Any ideas?
I think there's loads of bad songs. Loads of bad songs. Songs that I really just can't bear to listen to. Trite. I'm not very good at comic
Is
songs.
that bad, or is
particularly.
it not your taste?
No, just not. Exactly. I suppose it's a philosophical question.
That's
There's a lot of
exactly
songs
that.
which are not to my taste. I suppose that's all I'm prepared to say. But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean they're bad songs. But
So
I do find
songs-
trivial songs. I find songs sometimes really trivial, and it just... there's too many good songs to listen to give them the time of day. But some of them are really, really very successful and famous. And I just can't bear them, personally. So it's all must be taste.
So songs can be subjectively bad. But
Yeah.
I think Trudy's question is, can they be objectively bad?
That was the
measurement?
point,
Is that
really.
your-
Yeah,
what-
I don't think they can. I mean, you say things that are trite, but they're feeling groovy is pretty trite, but it's still quite a good song.
Oh no, that's an excellent song.
All right,
I don't
all right.
mean trite in an obvious sense. I don't mean that just because it's got a lightweight theme. I think Feeling Groovy is a beautifully crafted song.
Yeah.
Love Feeling Groovy.
The thing about it, though, is one of the things that we use a lot in music when we express our personal opinions on things is we use almost the same adjectives to describe what we don't like and for what we do like. I.e., I might say, I absolutely adore Little Feat. They've got a feel of their own. You know it's Little Feat. And another band, I won't mention any names, I dislike intensely because they all sound the same. Now, I'm actually almost describing the same characteristics, but one is positive and one is negative, you know. So I know there are certain things in songs that drive me insane. I'll never forgive Toto for Africa, I have to admit. I think that getting the word Serengeti into a line was a complete waste of time, and they shouldn't have wasted any.
I'm so pleased you said that phrase, and the way they shoehorn Serengeti in, and it doesn't scan. Has bugged me every single time I've heard that, and I'm glad I'm not the only one.
You're not, mate. You're not. I'm thinking of forming a society. Anybody else got any pet hates?
Yeah, well, I think for me, it's just when people go for like really obvious lyrics, you know, like, you know, I can't think of anything offhand, but things that are just so obvious to say and so obvious. The first choice rhyme word, you know what I mean? When people go for the first choice rhyme word to make a song, and I hear it all the time. You know, so you do these open mics and that, and you get people go, and I can't think of something off the top of my head, but you know, just an obvious, right? The first go-to rhyme. What you usually pass by, you think, well, yeah, I'm sure I can find something a little bit more interesting for a word to put in the song than that one. You know what I mean? It's a go-to rhyme, maybe as a quick passing kind of thing, but to have any substance to add any substance to the song, I think you've got to, you know, look a little bit deeper into, you know, words. I think. I mean, I've come from a poetic kind of side, I suppose. So probably that's why I think like that. But you know, yeah. I mean, I wrote a song and I've got metaphysical in it, as in the lyric. Metaphysical jumble you stumble with throughout history. But,
okay, what's everybody else's favourite word they've got into a song?
My favourite word that Trudi's got into a song is corpuscle.
Corpuscle?
And she's rhymed it, she's on the phone. Corpuscle, and she's rhymed it with muscle. Hey Trudi, corpuscle and muscle, what a rhyme.
Yes, and I've got tinnitus in one of my songs that drove one person wild. He was so pleased that I put tinnitus in. It's part of a metaphor, the tinnitus of the soul or something, I don't know. You know, I love language, but they don't have to be posh words.
No,
I mean, I've just written the word filth in this song because it's the only word that works with what I had to deal with in my house.
But it's a funny thing. I mean, you know, I know you and I have talked about this before, Trudi, about Sammy Khan's thing about singability. You know, that there are certain words, I mean, that they just don't, for me, they don't work in a certain line, you know, like Serengeti. But also there's another thing about how I've heard people who will actually mispronounce a word in order to get it to fit into a line. There's a song called Bad Influence by Robert Cray. In fact, it's the title track off an album. And it's quite a nice idea, you know, you're a bad influence on me, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it works as a song. Except in terms of the phrasing, he sings, "You're a bad influence, baby," which is nonsensical. You know, to me, it's as irritating as the Serengeti. But maybe that's just me and my obsessive nature. Anybody else got any pet hates?
Yeah, bandwagon jumpers. I used to hate punk music. When punk music came on with Sex Pistols and The Clash, I used to hate it. Actually, looking back, I don't mind it now. In fact, some I actually quite like, particularly The Clash. But there were bands that jumped on the bandwagon, like I think there was one called UK Subs.
Yes.
There were just a bunch of chances, really. And it was, what they did was absolute shit. Are they still going? I can't believe that. I cannot believe that. What? Can't imagine where they get gigs, but anyway.
Yeah,
it's Swindon.
Swindon and Deacon, yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, dear.
Can I tell you a guilty secret? I tell you what I really hate. Sorry, Rosie's talking to me, but I really hate We All Live in a Yellow Submarine. And I know I shouldn't say that, but I just can't bear it. And it's just, to me, that's That's, you know, da 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 da.
I think
Just
we know
drive
the
me
song.
nuts.
Don't worry about that.
Say that again, sorry, Roland.
I said, I think we all know the song.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. But it's that really exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
it's terrible, isn't it? I shouldn't have said that on a open forum. But anyway,
That's
sorry.
right. You've been kicked off. You've been kicked out of the group now. Dissing a Beatles song.
It is
Just sing a
risky
Beatle.
when you criticise others, but I mean, it's not a lyric or anything, it's a feeling. But I have an aversion, let's put it no stronger than that, to pretty much everything that Coldplay do, because for me, every song is formulaic, and what they have to build into the song is what I call the football crowd bit. Where in the chorus there's a bit where everybody can go
Yeah.
and it's mindless and it's boring and it's repetitive.
I had
every song.
worked with a bass player out in Italy, and who was great bass player, fantastic bass, but he was a big Coldplay fan. And one day we were having lunch together and with another musician friend, and they were talking about Coldplay, and I said, Coldplay, yeah, I like that one. And he said, what do you mean that one? He said, there's lots of songs by... Oh, I said, are there? And he didn't quite see the funny side of it, because they do sound very much the same as far as I'm concerned. They have a similarity that is too close to cloning, I think.
I like that word, formulaic.
Formulaic, yes.
Oh, I'll tell you what I like, Roland. I like too close to cloning.
Too close to cloning.
I might write that down. That's one of my favourite expressions tonight. Do you mind if I write that down?
You enjoy.
That's good, that is. She's too close to cloning. Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Well, we had one of these moments this afternoon, didn't we, Hugh? When I said something and you said, "Oh, that would be good for a line."
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't too close.
Can't remember what it was now.
No, neither can I. That's the problem. Well.
You have to write it down, boys.
I know.
Yes,
I know.
yeah,
Particularly at this age.
Right then, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for helping us out. Thanks for dropping in. It's been good fun. And the hour has flown by. And look after yourselves and stay in touch. I shall now sign off to the general public, and I shall be back with you in a second. Okay. Thanks again. Well, that was good fun. I enjoyed that. So next week, who shall I be back with next week? Next week is Eddie. Eddie will be here doing his one-off next week. Eddie is one of my longest-standing fans, who has been listening enthusiastically to this program since about episode 5, I think. And we booked him in finally to do one next week. And then today he saw my post and said, "Oh, can I just hop in?" So I said, "Yeah, sure, join us." So that's all for this week. And in the meantime, look after yourselves, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.